Hello again, this is Dr. Kevin Connors for another episode of Connors Clinic Live. Today I have a very special guest. Tyge Blomberg comes to us from OrthoMolecular products. It's a product line that we carry. They're based out of Wisconsin, which is nice for us to get product quickly. Boy, we appreciate that. And they just have a great reputation of science-based in their product line, that a lot of research goes beyond just the regular supplements. So we really appreciate that as well. Tyge, tell us a little bit about you, how you got into nutritional supplements and promotion.
Yeah, so quickly, I won't spend too much time on my history, but at the time I was working at Boston Scientific, and for those that don't know, they're a med device company in Arden Hills, Minnesota, formerly Guidant, and they did pacemakers, defibrillators, heart therapy devices. So I was kind of an expert in that area of medicine. In the meantime, personally, my younger brother, who was 25 at the time, ended up getting cancer. He called me and basically told me he had a backache, and I told him to go see his chiropractor, which is, sound advice typically, but he said it's a different kind of pain. I don't know what's going on. So he went and got checked out by his regular doc, and they ended up finding a tumor on his spine, and he got the whole Mayo workup done, which included like an RPLND surgery. So they basically cut him open, removed all of his organs and 23 lymph nodes, and did a big major surgery it was high risk. So that got me looking into functional medicine. That's how my journey started, was there must be a better way or a preventative way so that no one has to go through such a dramatic thing. So that's what got me interested in functional medicine. So I reached out to OrthoMolecular products. So I get to work with around 600 clinics in the state, and it's been a phenomenal journey for the last 7 years. I wouldn't go back for anything. So.
Wow, great. With OrthoMolecular products, you have numerous ones that we like, and when you're dealing with functional medicine, one of the first things that we know that we have to work on is trying to heal the gut. So you have a very unique product that we use a lot in our office, and let's talk about that today, the Clear SBI Protect. Tell us everything you know about SBI Protect and why a person would use that.
Yeah, so this is a product that was new to us in 2018. And we're lucky enough, we're a large enough nutrition company where we get certain exclusive products that are only offered through our company, which is nice for a few different reasons. But this one in particular, it's good because we believe that the GI system is kind of the center of a lot of the other systems in the body, and taking care of that first, as you mentioned, is kind of paramount to the path to healing. So this product is crucial. The SBI portion stands for serum-derived bovine immunoglobulins. And that's a fancy word for, where we usually get immunoglobulins from. It's from colostrum, right? So this is a serum-derived version, which would make it dairy-free. And the reason that's important is when you're trying to heal someone's gut, who might have leaky gut syndrome or hyperpermeability, they call it. You don't want to introduce potential allergens like dairy into their system, because that will cause inflammation. So we have the only dairy-free IgG product on the market. And you mentioned you use a lot of it. That's a very good thing, because its mechanism of action is very simple and it's safe for anyone to take. You can give it to an infant or a child, an adult, someone who's chronically ill, and there are no side effects that are known. So there's no taste to it, so you can mix the powder into anything from applesauce, almond milk, water, doesn't matter. So, and we can talk a little bit about the mechanism too.
First thing that people will probably ask, well, what's an immunoglobulin and why do I need immunoglobulins? So talk about how it binds microbes and pathogens in the gut, and give a little history there.
Yeah, it has a really cool mechanism of action. And the reason I think it's cool is because it's so simple. And so basically you have your gut lining. And I don't know if you want me to share my screen or not,
Sure.
but I could put a little diagram up here. So this graphic is kind of, it represents what's going on in our gut lining. On the red side of things where it says suboptimal, that's kind of your standard chronically ill patient. And you can see the circle where it says 1 there under altered gut microbiota. So that just means you have an unbalanced or a dysbiotic state in your gut where there's more harmful things than there are good things. So that balance has shifted in the wrong direction. And then you have increased antigen penetration, which means that those bad things are going down through the gut lining and they're stimulating a response. That's the third step there, is increased immune activation. So basically what's going on is you have these specialized immune cells called macrophages, and those are gobbling up those bad things at a rate that they can handle typically. And then they turn into what's called an APC, or an antigen presenting cell, which allows the immune system then to safely test fragments of whatever that bad thing was to see whether the immune system needs to respond or not. So in the case of hyperpermeability, or severe leaky gut syndrome, or whatever you want to call it, there's too many pathogens making their way through, and the immune system literally can't keep up. So it's sounding the alarm, saying, hey, we have more work on our plate than we can handle, so let's just call everything bad until we know what's going on. And that's where you can get into some dangerous autoimmunity and different allergies developed and whatnot. So you might be wondering, that's great, but what is SBI doing to help that? And if you look on the optimal side of this diagram right here, it says the first one is microbial balance. So the first step that SBI does a really good job in doing is binding to pathogenic organisms, or those bad guys in your gut microbiota. So it binds to them, it actually makes that structure larger than it initially was, and it makes it much harder for it to travel through these channels in between your endocrine cells and stimulate that immune response. So think about it like clustering up on those bad guys, and then they're forced out through the stool. They can't elicit an immune response anymore. The other thing that SBI does is to receptor sites for what's called zonulin. And for those that don't know what zonulin is, it's basically a chemical that unlocks the door for these channels to develop inside the gut. So the more of that you can stop, the better. And things that cause zonulin release would be like pathogenic organisms. So think like gram-negative bacteria, things like E. coli, salmonella, all the bad bits that are out there. Also, gluten is a big, gluten basically sits on that gut lining and turns into a substance called gliadin. And then gliadin creates zonulin, which unlocks the door for more hyperpermeability or more leaky gut syndrome. So those are the two main things it's doing in the gut from a mechanism of action standpoint. And again, this is totally safe for everybody to take and very, very effective, because as you can imagine, those with autoimmunity or any sort of immune challenge, this is just taking the burden off of the immune system so that it can play catch up, in essence. So the third thing that I haven't mentioned is, because it's blocking zonulin in the gut level, it also does that for the blood-brain barrier. And why that's important is, obviously you have a gut barrier. You also have a barrier to your brain that's less permeable, but still can allow some things through that shouldn't be there. And when that happens, you get things like brain fog, memory issues, early onset Alzheimer's. It starts off small, but does progress over time. So if you can keep neuroinflammation at bay by keeping that barrier good, that's also a very good situation. So I'd say those three things are really what the crux of SBI is doing from a mechanism standpoint.
Yeah, it would be hard to argue that this product would not be good for everybody. So it's one of those products that we tend to recommend as a beneficial thing for everybody. It makes no difference whether you got cancer or Lyme or thyroid issues or headaches. When you talk about inflammation in the gut, it can equate to inflammation everywhere in your body. So decreasing that initial source of inflammation is a key in our book. And SBI Protect is a great product. Now, you said you're the only company that carries this product. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, we have the parent company has signed an exclusive agreement with us, so it's available as a pharmaceutical, and then also as a nutraceutical only through our company.
Great. Yeah, we're really excited about it. Well, thanks so much, Tyge.
Yeah.
I'd like to have you back again on another episode. I want to talk about like the next step if we're going to use immunoglobulins to bind microbes and pathogens, and also to bind, inert substances with SBI Protect and
Yeah.
help clear that out of the body and clear that out through the gut. Next step is to how do we reinoculate the gut? What probiotics are good probiotics to use to help reinoculate the gut and to deal with that systemic inflammation? So I'd love to have you back again. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I would love to talk about that, talk about how to heal those tissues and how to get that gut microbiota back on the right track again.
All right. Thank you so much, Tyge.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me on. Yep,
All right.
I
Bye-bye.
appreciate it.